So like a faded comic stuck on old shtick, our president smacked FNC for not bowing to the charismatic charade of his presidency in front of the few who still applaud.
There's a reason fewer Republicans, you hear them running around about Obamacare. Because while good, affordable health care might seem like a fanged threat to the freedom of the American people on Fox News, it turns out it's working pretty well in the real world.
Remember, he's been there before.
So, just in case some of your friends or neighbors or, Uncle Jim, who's a little stubborn and been watching Fox News, and if you're a Republican, you're watching Fox News, and right, people don't listen to each other as much. If you talk to somebody who said, "Well, I don't know, I was watching Fox News and they said this horrible,"
I've got one television station that is entirely devoted to attacking my administration. I mean, that's a pretty...
I assume you're talking about Fox.
Well, that's a pretty big megaphone.
Why must he do this? Isn't he aware of the pain this causes me? I try to help. I give him advice. I make him sandwiches. And yet he still lashes out. Therapists call this projection, but I call it whining. I'd send him to his room at the White House, but we know it's not safe. Now, I admit, we are hard on him, but we're only hard on him because no one else is. Doesn't he get the fair and balanced part of this place? That it's the only stance one must take to prevent a total capitulation of a docile media. 99% of the media believes he's a unicorn. That does him no favors. FNC asks what the Obama groupies won't, and it drives him nuts. Why can't he win over that last girl at the party? He's conquered everyone else. Why can't FNC just relax and have a few beers by the keg? You can crash at his place. But it's got to kill the press that the president never snaps at them. He doesn't because there's no reason. They're so deep in his pocket, they have lint poisoning. Every time Obama bashes FNC, it's a reminder that he's not bashing that sweaty base of fanboys, all pleading for approval from the cool dude who knows Clooney. Remember when the media wasn't a propaganda arm for a political ideology embraced with radicalized glee? Well, now, President Obama's made sure the mainstream media isn't dead. Like a rabid lapdog, it's alive and licking.
But it has fleas.
It has fleas.
And it needs a bath.
That it does. These jabs, Andrea, are simultaneously flattering to FNC because it means they're doing the job, but unflattering to everybody else. Correct? Am I wrong?
Unflattering, yeah. I mean, if the majority of the country watches Fox News and the other channels are just eating our dust, shall we say. But I think this is specifically designed to base rally. I mean, he's looking at the intensity numbers, and they're 10 points higher than Republicans. So he figures, I'll go back into the playbook, I'll regurgitate some old material. We don't carry his water. We don't coordinate with the White House like the other news networks, and he's shown that he's thin-skinned. And it's just not true about Obamacare. I mean, Greg, the premiums have gone up so much, and the deductibles are so high that it's affecting disproportionately low-income families that they're actually, according to the New York Times, having to turn to charity to pay for the rest of it. I don't know one person that's on Obamacare that has it that loves it. And so he can go out and say, I don't hear Republicans talking about it. But in fact, in every Senate race and most campaigns across the country, most Republican candidates, if they win, will win on that issue.
Yeah, in fact, on that issue, which ends up, by the way, about number 9 or 10 on the list.
That's not true.
Issues.
That's absolutely not true.
Well, do you really think anybody's focusing on Obamacare?
Yes, I do. I think that's a huge issue that candidates are focused on.
Can I make one point here, going back, Greg, because you constantly say this all the time, and I think the rest of you tend to agree. The idea that there is not a lot of news organizations out there, from newspapers to talk radio, that are against Obama is just, and it's only us, is just not right. I mean, you go out and look at the St. Louis newspapers. Go and look at the Montana newspapers. Go look at every radio talk show host in California. Almost all the successful ones are right-wingers, and they're beating on him every day. So it's not just us, and the whole media is not just all in his back pocket.
Well, most of them are. Eric?
I have a different take on it. The line he uttered was fanged threat to freedom on Fox News. Now, someone wrote that because it was in prompter, and we had the embargoed copy before. So someone wrote that. So here's my take on it. I think that the White House, President Obama, and all his advisors are narcissists. They realize that any attention from Fox News is good, whether it's good or bad, and they know by saying this fanged threat to freedom on Fox News, they know they get us talking about it, and we do, and they love it. They love hearing us talk about what a ridiculous comment that he just made and what a ridiculous attack on Fox News is. So, great. You got it. You got your wish. Fantastic. Do it again, by the way.
Dana, you know, Eric makes the point that they could have done this without mentioning FNC. He could have made his point, yet he felt compelled.
I mean, he's about as subtle as a flying axe head when it comes to criticism of Fox News. This is really is interesting. It's a bigger picture thing. To have a president of the United States attacking a private entity, a corporation in America, that is not usually done.
Yeah.
But the Democrats do it a lot. Think of the attacks on the Koch brothers and Harry Reid. You know, he tried to ride that horse all the way back to the barn, and it didn't work for him. But remember, just 2 weeks ago, 53 Democrats voted to change the First Amendment. They want to amend the First Amendment so that you cannot criticize people. They are so afraid of opinion. And when it comes to the rest of the media, when you have every network, most of the newspapers, there's just no question that the decks are stacked against Republicans, and they complain so much if there's a little bit of success.
Well, what they ought to do
what President Obama really needs is a resident skeptic. And whoever wins the next White House, if it's a Republican and they need to hire some sort of Democrat that they keep on line one, that they can call and say, will you read this speech for me right before I give it, just so that you can tell me, do I sound like a total jerk? And if so, strike the line.
And very quickly, they must have decided that they need Fox News Channel because they were hesitant to put a lot of their spokespeople on our channel until recently. So it looks like they may actually need Fox News. And I'm surprised you said fanged threat because dental care, I guess, it's covered under Obamacare now. You can get your fangs fixed.
Two things I suggest here, the Republicans, one, they go to journalism school and get into the news business. And the second thing I would say is, I want to remember, no president said this. Richard Nixon used to every day would criticize the press.
Right. It didn't work for him.
All right. Ahead on the 5, another patient is being tested for Ebola. We'll tell you what we know when we come back.